Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to No Final Bell. So we have no NWA talk to discuss this week, as is just Impact against all odds, and also AEW leading into Rochester later tonight. Of course, as always, we turn it over to Marty
Yeah.
talking about all against all odds. Jeez.
So, first, obviously, we talk the countdown. There were two matches on the countdown, and the first being Black Taurus and Laredo Kid, which essentially is a AAA match that you're getting in Impact Wrestling. Yes, Black Taurus beat Laredo Kid, and then you had a dot combat match for the Digital Media Championship between Brian Myers and Rich Swann. And, I didn't really want to talk too much about this because, in a sense, so that's the thing, too, is I hate to rain on his parade. And because, I'm willing to give him the benefit of a doubt, but at the same time, it's like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, really, this was the best they could do. So, Brian Myers beat Rich Swann in that dot combat match to become the new digital media champion. And that's what I mean. It's like that's really the best you could do with Brian Myers to give him a title, the digital media championship, which is like one of those championships is like, is it really even being taken seriously anymore at this point? Like when Jordan Grace won it, and you saw that's the thing too. When they first introduced the title, they had everybody trying to vie to become the first ever digital media champion. And then once Matt Cardona won it, it was like, now the title is starting to go down in value. And nothing against, nothing against Matt Cardona, but yeah, he kind of brought the value of that title down. And then Rich Swann winning it, it was like, okay, we got something out of this, and now Brian Myers. And even then, Rich Swann didn't even hold the title that long. So it was like, what, not even a month? Maybe not even 2 months that he held it. So now Brian Myers has the title. It's like, what are we doing with the digital media title at this point? Like, seriously? So now we get onto the main card, and we start off pretty hot, too, as the Motor City Machine Guns are going up against Bullet Club's Ace Austin and Chris Bay. And to no surprise, really, Motor City Machine Guns beat the Bullet Club. Then we have some Knockouts tag team action. Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo versus Mickie James and Mia Yim. It was interesting for their entrances because both women's entrances had a mashup of each other's theme songs. So Mia Yim and Mickie James, their theme song was basically a mashup of the two. And then Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo, that was a mashup of the two theme songs. So that was a bit interesting. But then we get into some X Division action. Speedball Mike Bailey.
Hey, you didn't tell us who won.
Oh, yeah. Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo won. Sorry. Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo beat Mickie James and Mia Yim. Now we'll get on to the X Division action. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Trey Miguel. It's the rematch, or at least Trey Miguel gets a rematch. And unfortunately does not get the job done to recapture his X Division title. Speedball Mike Bailey, I seriously think that he's going to hold the X Division title for a bit of time, and when we least expect it, I really think that Speedball is going to invoke Option C and go after the World Championship. But we'll see. Then we have more Knockouts Tag Team action as the Knockouts Tag Team titles are on the line. Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary are going to go up against the Influence. However, taking the place of Madison Rayne is Giselle Shaw. And Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary beat Tenille Dashwood and Giselle Shaw to retain. But the Influence is not done with Taya and Rosemary. But now it seems that Masha Slamovich wants to kneel. She sent her that envelope, the same envelope that Masha sent, no, not Lady Frost, Alicia Edwards. So it's safe to say that Masha wants to kill Tenille Dashwood. Because that's exactly what people were saying Masha wanted to do to Alicia. And it's interesting to note that Alicia Edwards was first paired with Gazelle Shaw before Gazelle Shaw started pairing with Tenille Dashwood now. It's interesting to note that she's going after everybody that Gazelle Shaw is like pairing herself up with. Could we eventually see Gazelle Shaw get pummeled by Masha Slamovich at some point? Safe to say, yes. Then we get backstage. Speedball Mike Bailey, they're asking what's next. He is open to any challengers and is throwing out an open challenge for the X Division Championship on Impact. So, tomorrow night, who answers the challenge? We'll have to stay tuned. Then we get back to more in-ring action. America's Most Wanted. Wildcat Chris Harris and James Storm the Cowboy reunited after 16 long years. Team up with Heath and the Good Brothers to take on Honor No More. Will Honor No More get their comeuppance? Yeah, they did. It was very, very satisfying to see America's Most Wanted back in the ring, back in tag team action, and James Storm put it best. He said, we came into this company together, and by God, we'll go out together. So, we get backstage again, and it seems that Rich Swann may have his next challenge in Mahabali Shera, and it could be on Impact. So, again, stay tuned on Thursday. And this one was interesting because I didn't really watch Impact growing up. I mean, I did, but like I didn't watch it during the time of like the NWA, like TNA era. So I like didn't really know what to expect with this next match. It was Moose and Sami Callihan in a Ravens Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, which for those that are new, like myself, to this concept of a match, it is essentially where they surround the ring with, like, there's a chain. It's almost kind of like the concept of it, if I can explain it correctly, for those of you that remember, it's somewhat like the Asylum match from WWE without a cage. So they have a pole that is set up with weapons all around the ring, and you can take those weapons off and use them. So, and it got bloody, it got brutal. For the Clockwork Orange House of Fun, there is a mystery box that contains whatever. Inside the mystery box, well, at least there were two mystery boxes. Inside one mystery box was broken glass. Inside the other mystery box was Legos. Both men went through the Legos and through the broken glass. So, needless to say, the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match got brutal. However, the finish might shock you, because with the help of Steve Maclin, Moose beats Sami Callihan. So we'll see what happens with that. Where does Steve Maclin's allegiance lie? Is he still on his own? Is he still saying like, oh yeah, no, my allegiance is to nobody. I'm my own man. It was just coincidental that I was able to help Moose or something. I don't know. But regardless. Then we get on to some knockouts action. Jordynne Grace putting up her knockouts world title on the line against Tasha Steelz. Tasha Steelz invoking her rematch clause. Unfortunately, Tasha Steelz does not get the job done. As I expected, Jordynne Grace beats Tasha Steelz. And then we get on to the main event, what everybody was looking forward to for Against All Odds. Josh Alexander and Big Joe Doring for the Impact World title. Would Joe Doring be able to defeat Josh Alexander? The man has been undefeated. Joe Doring is also the only man to ever really give Josh Alexander a loss. So, would Joe Doring be able to beat Josh Alexander to become the Impact World Champion? Unfortunately, not this time. I do feel like, however, that Joe Doring will get his time as the Impact World Champion eventually, just not right now. Especially not with Josh Alexander being Impact World Champion. Let him have his time. Let him have a decent run with the Impact World Championship because, let's face it, Josh Alexander, he just keeps putting on bangers of matches. I mean, this one against Joe Doring wasn't, like, too crazy, but regardless, Josh Alexander is the world champion in Impact for a reason, and needless to say, he's here to prove why he worked tooth and nail to get back into the title picture just alone, and also why he worked tooth and nail to even chase the championship. Now that he's the champion, he will prove why he has that Impact World Championship.
Yep, so that is Against All Odds. We are heading on to the AEW Dynamite and Rampage for last week as we're heading into Rochester, which is later tonight. So, Orange Cassidy and Ethan Page start off.
By the way, Orange Cassidy has his old music from the Indies now.
Yeah.
Jane is back. You'd love to see it.
It's a good song, too.
It's a very good song. Jefferson Starship.
So, Orange Cassidy does beat Ethan Page to start off the night, as we weren't really that surprised. Ethan Page, unfortunately, with him, he hasn't really done a whole lot in the AEW, which is very sad. But, Christian Cage, well, we know he's heel. Yes. We know he turned on Jungle Boy. Luchasaurus is now heel, but he came out and said he's lucky his whole family, the Jungle Boy's family, whole family is not dead, so they didn't have to watch him get his ass beat, basically. Which, damn, Christian, you're getting dark. Who he wants her to call him. He's like, by the way, I want everybody in your family dead, but your mom. She can call me. Says the only good thing about Detroit is that it's close to Canada. He requested a match, but it wasn't for him. It was actually for Luchasaurus, who seems to have turned on Jungle Boy.
Goes up in an impromptu match against Serpentico.
Goes up against Serpentico, and then he beats him
down.
He beats him in the match, and then he beats him down after the match. Were we too surprised? Of course, that's all going to lead into them showing up at... we're going to still hear from Christian Cage in Rochester, probably getting booed and all that other stuff.
I'm going to boo him.
I'm honestly liking this feud. I think it's going to lead to Christian Cage against Jungle Boy at All Out, which I'm all for. Sunday, September 4th is All Out. They've been advertising it. They've been postering every arena and everything that they've been at. So next pay-per-view All Out will be September 4th. And I think we're going to get Jungle Boy against Christian Cage. And honestly, if I wanted to make an really early prediction, because it's still 2 months away, just actually a little less than 2 months away, I'm going to have to go with Jungle Boy beating Christian Cage here. Even though Christian Cage getting the win would really further him as a heel. But you have a lot more upside with Jungle Boy
Yes.
as being honestly, I'm liking this. I think you should push Jungle Boy as a singles competitor
I agree.
and have him go after the world title, the TNT title, any kind of title.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that it's mainly like a foreign championship, I would have said like have him go after the All Atlantic Championship, but unfortunately, Jungle Boy resides in the U.S. and the All Atlantic Championship is more of a title for like international talent. So
I will say I think Jungle Boy deserves to have this singles rush. Just it makes a little no sense. I think they kind of just rushed into, oh yeah, let's just break them up. They're not the tag team champs anymore, so let's let Luchasaurus have his own thing. It would be cool to see a match lead into like Rampage with Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, and this Jungle Boy somehow finds a tag team partner to face off against them in Rampage. For Rochester, it could happen. It could happen.
If he was still contracted, I would say, oh, you could easily get Marco Stunt to be Jungle Boy's tag team partner. But unfortunately, Marco Stunt is no longer contracted by AEW. So
you know who I could see being with, because I think he had some relation with, get like Frankie Kazarian. That'd be cool. Get Frankie. Get Frankie Kazarian to team up with Jungle Boy against Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. I'm seeing something. I think we're gonna get Jungle Boy returning in Rochester in some form. I'm calling it now. Early prediction. I think Jungle Boy is gonna return in Rochester and set up a match on Rampage, because they didn't really announce a whole lot of matches for Rampage. And what better way? Because last time they were in Rochester, they did have something on Dynamite which led to a match on Rampage. So I really do think that they're going to set up a tag team match on Dynamite that will lead into Rampage, which, by the way, is taped the same night.
So for those that don't know, now you know.
I'm half expecting that. It would be cool. But we do know something that is confirmed for Rochester next week, which I did call. I did call TNT on our pay-per-view special, which go ahead and watch it now. It is on Facebook Watch and also on YouTube. I did state that I think Wardlow will face off against Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship. I'm pretty sure I did say it somewhere right then and there in the show.
Yeah, it's there. Go ahead and watch.
So I said that I can see Wardlow facing off against Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship in Rochester, which is going to happen now. But there's also an added stipulation for it. It's going to be
there's a catch.
It's going to be
wait, there's more.
It's going to be in a street fight for the TNT Championship.
How do you feel about that?
I love it.
I love it too.
Because last time they were in Rochester, you didn't really get a lot of gory, type matches.
No, and
this time you get a street fight.
Yes.
So you get a little bit more hardcore and violence in Rochester, which I'm all for.
I'm okay with that. I
also called on the pay-per-view special. I think it's going to be the second time in a row in Rochester that the title is going to change hands. And
it's very possible.
I'm really thinking that Wardlow is going to beat Scorpio Sky. I think we're going to see some bloodshed. We're going to see some tables. We're going to see some tacks because it's a straight fight.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's funny, too, because I look at it and I'm like, man, I really can't think of the last time that you saw color in Rochester. Like, the first real thing that comes to my mind was like a Raw house show back in like 06, 07.
Right.
So that's like the first thing that comes to my mind, and I believe it was like in a ladder match.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna see some color. We're gonna see some hardcore. We're gonna. It wouldn't even shock me if that's the main event, is a TNT title match, but
that was the main event last time.
Yeah, I know, but this time you also have an interim world title match.
That's got to be the main event.
So. Which we will get to that time.
I could see them doing like maybe the TNT title before world title match.
Yeah, maybe.
You know,
Usually a gimmick match is their main event.
usually, yes.
I'm really thinking it's going to be the main event because I think they're going to tear up like the ring and all the other stuff, and they're going to really go at each
possible.
other.
Yeah, but then you gotta.
Yeah, but
then you gotta set it up again for Rampage.
I get it, but that's what they did for Blood and Guts. But look how fast they got it up and ready for the Royal Rampage, which we will talk about. We will talk about Blood and Guts too, as well. So yeah, I honestly think Wardlow is going to beat Scorpio Sky. I saw something like online that people are thinking the Scorpio Sky is going to retain. I don't see that happening. Scorpio Sky has had a title twice. This is his second run with a title. I think this one's going to be a lot shorter than his first reign. I hate to say it, nothing against Scorpio Sky. He definitely deserves to have, the TNT Championship. I just think that Wardlow having it right now
would bring up the credibility.
Bring up a little bit of the credibility because so far Scorpio Sky hasn't really done anything with the TNT Championship.
Well, not to mention, it would mean more for Wardlow to have it because, I'll go back to it. It'll bring up the credibility of the title, and also it'll do more for like the kind of matches that Wardlow would have as TNT champion. So
right. So
just do the right thing and give him the damn title.
So we get Max Caster and the Gun Club. They're pissed. We talked about it by talked about the funny thing that happened in the
Forbidden Door.
The pre-show at Forbidden Door. We talked about how Danhausen did the ass boy. Well, Gun Club was like, we're pissed. We got taken out of this match because you thought it was funny to do this. So we requested this match. Danhausen had to find two opponents.
So we only knew that it was Danhausen. We don't know who Danhausen was able to get for their partners.
Right.
Up until you heard that music, you heard that pop.
Yes.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. FTR Hausen.
7-star FTR and Danhausen face off against the Gun Club and Max Caster. But during the match, Anthony Bowens actually got out of the wheelchair, which is like, makes you wonder, was he truly hurt to begin with?
Makes you wonder.
And shows he doesn't need it. Will this cause tensions between the Gun Club and the Acclaimed? Actually, I think this was after the match, but as far as the match, it was a pretty decent back and forth match. Gun Club was trying to get in a lot of their offense in, but they were outnumbered by FTR and Danhausen, who get the victory over Gun Club and Max Caster. Yes, Bowens does get out of the wheelchair, but after the match was won, there was some tensions that were going on there, because Gun Club was like, what the hell, I thought we were, a whole group, now you're getting out of the wheelchair, we were rolling you around. Well, Billy Gunn throws Austin down to the ground, which makes you wonder, is Billy turning heel on his sons?
I think so.
And
I think
he's going to be
himself with the Acclaimed.
Aligning himself with the Acclaimed, which
that sure took an interesting turn.
Yeah, it does. I called this. I definitely called this. I said I can see some tensions brewing with the Acclaimed breaking up with the Gun Club. Guess what? Now it looks like it has been official that the Gun Club and the Acclaimed are no more. That's what that means, ladies and gentlemen. And who knows?
It's almost as if you could say Colton and Austin are a couple of smoking guns.
But I will say I definitely saw this coming. It just sucks that it had to happen then. It would be nice to see him as early as later tonight, but I think eventually we're going to see them face off against each other and lead into a feud with each other, because this has been brewing for at least a solid month. This has been going. They've been together for at least a while now. So
yeah, just about.
So honestly, I really do think that, if there's anything that's been brewing, it's been Jay Lethal and Samoa Joe.
Oh yeah.
Which, by the way, the first
Ring of Honor
ROH
pay-per-view
pay-per-view
after
since
Super Card of Honor, which is going to be on July 23rd, Death Before Dishonor.
yes, Jay Lethal wants a shot at the ROH Television Championship because he's saying, well, I'm the longest reigning ROH World TV champion, and he wants the title again. What do you think about
what else
that?
do you have to prove with that championship there, Jay? Like, I get it, you're Mr. ROH, but at the same time, it's like, what more do you have to prove in Ring of Honor? Especially with the television championship.
I just want to know, like, I get it because they're both on ROH and stuff like that, and they're both between AEW. How come we can't get this match on AEW for the ROH television title? I mean, nothing against the ROH.
To that match also happening in AEW, but yeah, I mean, it just, like, to me, it kind of just makes more sense to have it on a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. But I do see what you're, saying with that.
So honestly, it's cool. I mean, I wouldn't mind honestly seeing it. I mean, I wouldn't mind supporting ROH with its return under Tony Khan.
Well, see, that's the one benefit to Tony Khan purchasing ROH. You could definitely see it at Super Card of Honor. The production value seemingly, like, just was all around better, and just there was definitely because they used AEW production crew to produce Super Card of Honor, and even then, that same thing is going to happen at Death Before Dishonor on the 23rd. So, thumbs up for that, because honestly, like, the more you can make Ring of Honor feel like a bigger deal than like what it already is, the better the company will be. Because especially now that you have the financial backing of Tony Khan, it's like, yeah, I get it. Ring of Honor, they had no money virtually to pay anybody during the pandemic, and that's what ultimately like killed the brand. But at the same time, it's like, hey, if the brand itself, the promotion was on the table, and Tony Khan saw that, and he's like, hey, let me get in on that. Like, hey, I could help this dying brand become relevant again, and that's exactly what Tony Khan is going to do.
Right. So going forward, Jade Cargill and Layla Gray, the one from Brooklyn there, the one that's been on AEW Dark with a very 0-4 record. Well, now
you wouldn't have known that if you don't watch Dark.
Yeah, so she's now 0-5 as she gets beaten by Jade Cargill to retain her TBS championship and is still undefeated. Makes you wonder who the hell is going to beat her. But after the match, both Athena and Chris Statlander beat down Jade Cargill and Kiara Hogan until Layla Gray joins them for whatever reason. But did she really join them? Because kind of both looked at each other afterwards and then left out of the ring. So makes you wonder if she's really with the baddies or not.
If anything, I really it would, to me, make the most sense to have it be Athena to dethrone Jade Cargill and hand Jade her first loss.
I honestly think that Athena and Jade Cargill are going to face off against each other all out for the TBS championship.
But honestly,
I think Athena would be the right one to dethrone her.
But I also honestly see them doing, I honestly see them going the route of giving Jade Cargill 50 wins before her streak is over. I really see that happening. She's going to be the first one to go 50-0 in AEW, male or female. But, I do also see Athena handing Jade her first loss. So.
Right. So,
we'll have to see where that goes, where this whole thing goes with Jade Cargill and her undefeated streak, and even just her reign as TBS champion. We just stay tuned is all I can say to that. Just stay tuned.
So, Young Bucks say they do not have any friends other than the titles themselves, and saying that some of the Forbidden Door teams could get a shot at the titles. Of course, it did happen on Rampage, but this whole thing that they were talking about just felt a little weird because everybody's hurt for them and they don't really have any friends right now. Even Brandon Cutler wasn't behind the camera. I don't know. It just felt so weird with everything that was going on. So
where's Brandon? Did he get injured on Dark?
I don't freaking know. Probably.
Knowing that stooge, he probably did get injured on Dark.
So going into the Blood and Guts match, which wasn't really over an hour, it was a hell of a match between both.
It was a hell of a match, man.
Both
a lot
teams,
of brutality in that Blood and Guts.
Yeah, there was a lot of brutality. There was a lot of gore, blood.
You kind of have to expect that.
There was, fighting from the top of the cage, which
much like the last
I almost thought that Chris Jericho was going to get thrown into the thing this time, but no, it was actually Sammy Guevara that was on the top of the cage. That got thrown down by Eddie Kingston.
That was a hell of a fall.
There was quite a lot of beats downs. There was
there was broken glass. There were thumbtacks.
Oh yeah, there was broken glass, which
opened up Angelo Parker.
Yeah, because Jon Moxley used the paradigm shift.
No, it wasn't a paradigm shift. It was a pile driver.
Oh, that's right. Pile driver into the broken glass.
The broken glass that opened up.
Of course, there was a lot of tacks. Two bags full of tacks.
Yep.
In the blue side
Eddie
of the ring
Kingston
there.
ended up throwing a fistful into Jericho's face.
Yeah. He was trying to light him on fire again. He was trying to use rubbing alcohol and light him on fire again. I don't know what his problem was with Chris Jericho, but. No, if there's anything that made me surprised is that Claudio Castagnoli and Eddie Kingston actually worked their differences, at least in this match. But we will get into what happened towards the end in a sec. I honestly did think I thought for a second that Eddie Kingston was going to betray the Black Bull Combat Club and somehow maybe join up with Jericho Appreciation. Nope, that didn't happen at all. Our well wishes to Santana because it looked like he was severely injured, which I did see what made him injured, by the way. It was one move and his knee got twisted and stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't know if he tore his ACL or whatnot, or just had tore some ligaments by twisting his knee. I don't know. It just looked really bad. He tried to get back up and actually
probably injured him.
Be off, but then he was pretty much out for the whole entire match after that. When they probably went up to the top of the cage, I think they cut for him actually being out of the ring and out of the cage to get him into the back. Because I think after they went up to the cage, you didn't really see him again for the match. So
it was probably when they cut.
Yeah, it's apparently, from what I hear, a very serious knee injury. So our well wishes.
Need surgery, man.
Our well wishes to Santana. Of course, there's been multiple reports of him wanting to leave. I hope, because of the injury, it doesn't lead him to actually wanting out of AEW. It's just sad. I get, they really haven't done a whole lot in AEW, but still,
I mean, they haven't even challenged for a title, so I can kind of. But I have also been seeing that on the indies, he's been having quite the the singles career. There's one indie promotion where he won the World Championship and had his match officiated by Mike Chioda, of all people. So.
All right, so I'll get to the point where I think that, maybe there could have been some tensions again. So. You saw Claudio with a sharpshooter, and you saw
Eddie Kingston doing his
rushing back
initially used to.
Both men actually tapped out. Chris Jericho and Matt Menard both were tapping out, but I think the ref actually caught Matt Menard tapping out before Chris Jericho, because I think both men were tapping, but it looked like Menard was tapping
Menard
first
tapped first, yes.
before Chris Jericho, which made Eddie Kingston and Claudio kind of like, whoa, wait. He got the victory, but like I didn't, but like I was tapping out, like I was in a submission with Chris Jericho, and he was tapping.
And Claudio was trying to talk some sense into Eddie. It's like, hey, doesn't matter. Like, our team got the win. Like, we got the win.
Yeah,
like,
so
it doesn't matter. And
Eddie Kingston looked a little defeated, but he was holding Claudio's hand at the end, so at least he acknowledged it. But how much that took out of Eddie to actually raise his hand like that? Probably a lot.
And even then, how soon before we get Eddie versus Claudio?
It needs to happen. I really do think that needs to be a one-off.
They need to put that stamp on their age-old rivalry from Chikara.
Because even with Chris Jericho and Eddie, I'm sure there was some real-life beef between them.
Yeah.
I think now they kind of put that into the dust. Yes, I know Eddie wants to freaking light Chris Jericho on fire, but...
Well, that's the thing, too. At the end of the day, Eddie Kingston is a professional. He will do, he still has to do business with you at the end of the day. And that's what happened with his match against CM Punk. Like, yes, it was pretty, like, violent and brutal, but at the end of the day, it's like you still have to take care of your opponent in the ring, and that's what he did with CM Punk.
Right.
So, there may have been that pent-up hatred, like, backstage and behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, it's like whatever you do in the match is whatever you do in the match. You still got to take care of it.
Yeah, so, what a hell of a main event of Dynamite. But we get into the Rampage side of things. Starting off with a Royal Rampage, which is basically two Battle Royals simultaneously happening in one ring and the other ring.
So it's essentially AEW's version of like World War III from WCW, except this time you can only work with 2 rings instead of 3 for World War III, because World War III from WCW was essentially you use the 3 rings, you have 10 men in each ring, and it's a battle royal, and then the winners or like the last 3 men standing from each 3 rings would essentially be able to use whatever ring of the 3 to eliminate the last person, or the last 2 people. But in this case, for Royal Rampage, you have the 2 rings, you have 20 people, 10 in each ring, and the last person standing from both the red ring and the blue ring face off.
Yeah, so the last 2 members of both sides were Darby Allin and Brody King, which honestly, I really thought, oh man, Darby's actually going to get a shot at Jon Moxley in the world title.
But
no, it didn't happen. Brody King had him in the sleeper hold.
It was quite an innovative
He went to
finish.
sleep and just tossed him.
He was dangling Darby
down.
Too.
So, yes, Brody King gets a shot at Jon Moxley later tonight for the interim World Heavyweight Championship. Holy shit! What a turn of events.
Yeah.
House of Black against the Blackpool Combat Club and Brody King versus Jon Moxley for the interim World Heavyweight title. Now, if you had to tell me that would be the interim World Heavyweight title opportunity for Jon Moxley to put the title on the line against him, honestly, I would have told you you're a liar, and I think it's going to be Darby Allin. No, it's going to be Brody King. It would be nice to see Brody be the interim World Heavyweight Champion, but it's too early for Jon Moxley to lose it. Yeah. I really do think that if CM Punk is healthy in time for All Out, which is another 2 months away, so it could happen still.
I will say this, though. It would be absolutely crazy to see Brody King versus CM Punk in a title unification match, or like to determine who the undisputed AEW World Champion is. But I really see it being Punk and Moxley to determine the undisputed
Yeah,
AEW World
I
Champion.
could
It
too.
only and even then, like that match would be an
Moxley and
absolute
CM
banger.
Punk is going to be a really good match.
Yes.
Great main event if it does happen at All Out. If it doesn't happen at All Out, at least to see it at Revolution next year would be nice too.
Well,
So
that's the thing too. They would have to milk out Moxley's reign for that long,
yeah,
which
I
I
know.
would be okay with. But at the same time, it's like, you're kind of
Well,
like planting the seed for like
I would really do think that the plan is that CM
maybe
Punk
not.
will be
Well,
back
okay,
for All Out.
no. See, it wouldn't be Revolution at that point. It would be Full Gear.
Oh, yes. Full Gear would be the last one
Pay-per-view
of
of the
this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
When is
it would
usually
have to be Full Gear.
when does usually Full Gear happen?
It's usually like November.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So
Yes, you're
like
right.
around the time
So,
like before Survivor
if not
Series.
Revolution, at least Full Gear, because it all depends on how long CM Punk is going to be out for.
Yes. Because he does have to have surgery. So.
Right. So, at least at early stage, it probably will be All Out for the interim world heavy, the unification. But if not, at least Full Gear will be when they will face off against each other. Either way, it's going to be a great match later tonight. I'm looking forward to it. I think that they're going to bring the house down, both of them. So, Jon Moxley, to actually see him wrestling in the actual singles match instead of some little puny 6-man tag team match like he did last time he was in Rochester.
I
think it's great.
I didn't even see it last time because I was actually going to get beer.
So, yeah. We get on to the next match. Young Bucks face off against Gotu and
Hiroki, Goto, and Yoshihashi.
yes, Yoshihashi.
Yeah. It's nice to see that New Japan guys are still able to like be a part of AEW because like the Forbidden Door hasn't completely been shut after
No, not right now, which is nice.
And even then, New Japan guys have already stated that like they want to come back to AEW. So let it happen.
As they should.
Forbidden Door 2 next year. Please.
It would be nice.
Have it happen in the Tokyo Dome too.
Honestly, I think they should like switch off to where it will be. I think it should be a annual pay-per-view every year. It should switch
Tony
off.
Khan wants to make it an annual pay-per-view.
It should switch off between Tokyo and America every single year, like every other year.
I mean, yeah.
That'd be cool. But
one man who is very upset that he wasn't able to make Forbidden Door is Hiromu Takahashi. So, because he mentioned, he was like, oh, I'm very upset that I'll never get I could potentially never get the chance to team with Sting again. So, yeah, needless to say, Hiromu Takahashi is very upset that he missed out on Forbidden Door.
Well, speaking of that match, whoever, if it was Goto and Hashi that won, they would have gotten a title opportunity, but fortunately it didn't happen as the Young Bucks were too powerful for Goto and Hashi, and they beat Goto and Hashi. Makes you wonder who could be the next Forbidden Door tag team that could go after the Young Bucks and the World Tag Team for the,
Guerrillas of Destiny.
It would be cool.
It needs to happen, man.
It could happen.
We need
Who
to
knows?
see the Guerrillas of Destiny in an AEW ring.
So, going forward, we get some of Tully Blanchard's men will go up against Jonathan Gresham and
their name. They are part of Tully Blanchard Enterprises, though. I know that.
I think it's Of Agony or something like that.
Gates of Agony.
Yeah, Gates of Agony against Jonathan Gresham and Lee Moriarty next week or later tonight. On Friday, I mean.
Yeah.
On Friday for Rampage.
Tonight,
yes. So on Rampage on Friday, it will be the
Gates of Agony.
Gates of Agony against Tully, Jonathan Gresham and.
At this point, you might as well say it's Tully Blanchard Enterprises versus Jonathan Gresham and Lee Moriarty.
Yes, so it's going to be cool to see the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion compete on Rampage.
It's going to be great to see the technical wizard that is Jonathan Gresham in action in Rochester.
Yes, it will be. So,
He's going to bring pure wrestling to Rochester.
Now, if you had to choose between the two teams that are going to win, I'm thinking Gates of Agony.
No, I see. I'm going the opposite direction. I'm thinking Jonathan Gresham and Tyga style.
It would be nice, it really would, but honestly, I'm really thinking it's going to be Tully Blanchard's team that's going to get the victory here.
Now, the real question,
I will say it's going to be a good match. I just don't think it's going to.
The real question, though, is where does the final member of Tully Blanchard Enterprises fit into the fray? And if you watch Supercard of Honor, you know who that final member of Tully Blanchard Enterprises is. The Machine, Brian Cage.
It's going to be interesting to see if he's actually going to show up on AEW again.
I don't see that happening, actually, now that you mention that. But regardless,
I'm sure he's on.
He is part of Tully Blanchard Enterprises.
I'm pretty sure Brian Cage is at. Not really ends with Tony Khan at AEW anyway, so we'll see if it actually does lead into something.
That's the thing too, is he still maintained a good relationship with Tony Khan. So it's like, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, you kind of have to now because he's still your boss in Ring of Honor.
Right, exactly. So, yeah. Yeah, so he kind of has no choice there. Going on to the main event, though, Toni Storm and Nyla Rose face off against each other. Of course, Nyla Rose is currently the #1 ranked women's wrestler. And Toni Storm is number 3. Yeah, which makes you wonder how though, because she doesn't really wrestle much on TV. She does wrestle on Dark Elevation, so that's probably another reason. That kind of
makes sense, but at the same time, it's like the ranking system in AEW is very weird when it comes to like.
I will say this now. I think the ranking system shouldn't. Like, I get you still have your wins and losses. I just don't think that the ranking system should be moving up or down on Dark Elevation. I think it should only be on Dynamite and Rampage.
Yeah, because that's how the ranking.
If you
system,
win or lose, your win and loss shouldn't matter to go on to Rampage or Dynamite. But
yeah, because after all, that's how Marina Shafir got introduced as a challenger to Jade Cargill. It's like, what? She only ever competed on Dark. It's like, how are you going to try and tell me that Marina Shafir is a legitimate threat to Jade Cargill? It's like, no, the hell she is not.
So speaking of Toni Storm and Nyla Rose, they did face off against each other in a pretty decent main event. But Toni Storm does move up the rankings yet again. She went from number 3 to at least
probably number 2 now.
Maybe 2.
Yeah. I don't think she's the #1 contender. Or I should say not #1 contender, but the #1 ranked women's wrestler in AEW. At least not yet. I feel like eventually Toni Storm will get there to being #1.
It makes me wonder who actually is the who was the number 2 before Toni Storm went up. Because
I hope it wasn't Britt Baker.
Because it might be. It might be. Britt Baker might be the #1.
They really need to stop forcing her down our throats.
But then again, Toni Storm might have moved right from 3 to 1 like that.
Maybe.
If you think about it, because technically she does have a victory over Britt Baker recently.
That is true.
I was just thinking, don't be shocked if it's now Toni Storm at 1, Britt Baker at 2, and then Nyla Rose at 3.
It wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me.
Because I was thinking, I wonder if she would, I don't know how the whole win-loss thing goes, but I would say that Toni Storm, because she technically has the win over Britt Baker as of late, yes, I know she lost to her at Forbidden Door, and I understand that. But on Dynamite the week, after the show after Forbidden Door, she did beat her on Dynamite, so, which is kind of weird because, actually, or was that, I can't remember, was that, before Forbidden Door?
It might have been.
Actually, no,
it might have been.
I think they faced off at All or Nothing. Actually, I don't think they faced off at Forbidden Door. That's right.
Oh, Britt and Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was it was before Double or Nothing actually, because it was part of the Owen Hart Cup, and then Tony lost, or I don't know, but either way, Tony suffered a loss initially to.
Well, okay, I know exactly what it was. Well, it was Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa at Forbidden Door for the
Yeah.
AEW Women's World Championship, and then somehow did get a win afterwards, which did
It was
help her out.
probably on the Dynamite before Blood and Guts, after Forbidden Door.
Yeah, so she did get that victory on Britt Baker because we thought Britt Baker was going to be the next one in line for the AEW Women's World Championship. Um, you know what I have find funny, and I didn't really like. I know this is a side note. You know, we haven't really seen much about Serena Deeb ever since she had her whole big thing with.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Of course, I did want to talk about it as well. So, you know, the reports are out there. Logan Paul is not with WWE.
Yes.
He's going to be feuding with The Miz, probably at SummerSlam there.
I mean, it kind of makes sense for the storyline that they did after WrestleMania, because The Miz betrayed Logan Paul after their match, so
Right.
it kind of makes sense, like, with the whole,
And then I'll get back into the main event of Rampage. You know, Toni Storm does beat Nyla Rose and move up in the rankings, and then Marina Shafir beats her down into the match, and then Thunder Rosa comes down to save her. Could we get a tag team match soon?
Yes, we are getting a tag team match actually tonight.
Yes, later tonight. Yes, so we are going to see.
Which
Toni
honestly,
Storm
I'm not looking forward to
Thunder
that
Rosa
match.
versus Marina
Truth.
Shafir and Nyla Rose. We're going to get that tag team match on
I am not looking forward to
Dynamite.
In the slightest. I am not looking forward to that. Like, if there was, like, and you know, here's the thing. I hate to crap on this, and I hate to joke about this because this is exactly what happened at Forbidden Door with Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. But this is the match where you go, okay, this is the match where I take a break and leave my seat and go use the bathroom.
I don't know. It might be a lot better than you think it might be.
I'm sure it will be, but at the same time, it's like I just don't want to. Like, I don't understand the random push that Marina Shafir is getting. She's really not that good. I'm sorry.
I know, but it's an tag team match, so it might be better than you think
That's
it
true
will
too.
be. So.
That's true too. I mean, and even then, I was going to say, because, you know, Marina Shafir doesn't have to get that much ring time.
Exactly. So yeah.
You know, maybe, like, okay, in that case,
of course,
if I don't
if I had to choose who is going to win in that match at Dynamite, I'm going to say Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm.
I was going to say Thunderstorm needs to win.
Thunderstorm are going to beat Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir there. So honestly, that's the kind of match. That's who I think is going to win. Of course, you know, we're going to go to the show in Rochester. We're looking forward to it as always. It's going to be a good show. So that's going to conclude this episode of No Final Bell. Please make sure to follow us on Tinkle Sports and Entertainment. Our YouTube channel is Tinkle Sports and Entertainment. Right over there. And right now we are on hiatus with Sunday Morning Tinkle. We will be back August 28th. So make sure to watch No Final Bell usually every Wednesday at 5. Out Turn 4 is every Tuesday at 5. And we do have Tinkle Focus with Zach Armin. We do not know when it's going to be officially starting. He's going to try to do it every so often. He's going to try to make it a consistent thing, but we do not know when the official start date for that. But make sure to watch up all of our content on Tinkle Sports and Entertainment on YouTube. You can catch the show on Facebook Watch and YouTube. And then you can watch Out Turn 4 on Facebook Watch and YouTube. As always, everyone, we will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.